The rise and fall of Novgorod's forgotten republic. From fur to fire. Welcome to Novgorod, the republic that dared to defy princes, outtrade empires, and host political debates that could rival modern Twitter threads. But how did this Baltic titan rise from tribal squabbles to become a commercial powerhouse? Why did its quirky democracy, the Vesh, become both its greatest strength and its fatal flaw? And what made Ivan III, the Grand Prince of Moscow, so determined to silence Novgorod's bell forever? From ice-cracking battles against crusading knights to Mongol diplomacy that involved betrayal, backstabbing, and a suspiciously timed death, this is the story of how Novgorod soared and how it spectacularly fell. So grab your fur cloak, sharpen your sword, and prepare to dive into a tale of trade, treachery, and the tragic collapse of Russia's First Republic. Because once you hear how a city built on fish and freedom was crushed by ambition and empire, you won't want to miss a single moment. Long before Ivan III flexed his Muscovite muscles, Novgorod was the cool kid on the Slavic bloc. Nestled about 170 kilometers southwest of modern-day St. Petersburg, this town, once a bustling Baltic trading post, was born from tribal chaos. In the 9th century, Slavic and Finno-Ugric tribes were tired of playing Raiders of the Lost Goat with each other. So they called in the big guns, Prince Rurik, a Varangian, read Viking with a Russian accent, who founded the city in 862 AD. His kinsman Oleg later conquered Kiev, forming the Kievan Rus, but Novgorod remained a jewel in the crown, rich, independent, and increasingly rebellious. By 1136, Novgorod had had enough of princely babysitters. They kicked out the Kievan overlords and declared themselves a republic. Cue the Vetch, a town hall on steroids, where everyone from fur traders to aristocrats could shout their opinions and vote on matters of state. It was like ancient Reddit, but with more fur and fewer memes. Imagine a town hall meeting where anyone could show up, peasants, merchants, nobles, and that one guy who always brings fermented fish to every gathering. That was the Vesh, Novgorod's answer to democracy. It was summoned by ringing a giant bell, which basically meant, drop your pitchforks, we're arguing today. The Veche could elect and eject princes like a medieval version of The Apprentice. If the people didn't vibe with their ruler, they could say, you're fired, minus the boardroom. Scholars still argue whether the Veshesh was a true democratic powerhouse or just a glorified shouting match. Either way, it gave the people a voice, even if that voice was occasionally drowned out by boyar families whispering sweet bribes into the wind. Decisions were made not by consensus, but by exhaustion. One side would eventually give up, probably because someone had to go milk a cow. Despite its flaws, the Vesh was a beacon of civic participation in a Europe mostly run by kings who thought bathing was optional. Enter Igor Sviatoslavich, son of the first prince of Novgorod. He decided to take on the Cumans, a nomadic group from the Eurasian steppe who treated raiding like a national sport. Igor launched several campaigns against them, winning a few until 1185 when he got a little too confident. His army was crushed and he was captured. But plot twist, he escaped a year later. Probably by convincing his captors he was just a humble bard with a bad sense of direction. This whole debacle was immortalized in The Tale of Igor's Campaign, a medieval epic that reads like a mix of Game of Thrones and a cautionary tale about overconfidence. Now let's talk about the Livonian Order, basically German knights with a crusader complex. Backed by Pope Gregory IX, they decided to invade Novgorod in 1242, hoping to spread Catholicism and maybe snag a few fur coats along the way. Bad move. Prince Alexander Nevsky, Novgorod's golden boy, assembled an army and met them on the frozen Lake Peipus. What followed was the legendary battle on the ice. Picture knights in heavy armor slipping around like toddlers on a skating rink, while Nevsky's troops turned them into medieval popsicles. The Livonian and Teutonic forces were massacred. Expansion eastward, halted. Crusader dreams, shattered. Ice, still cold. Nevsky's victory was so epic, he got canonized in 1547. The Russian church basically said, you beat Germans on ice, you're a saint now. While Nevsky was busy turning knights into snow cones, the Mongols were sweeping through the east like a plague on horseback. In 1240, Batu Khan's Golden Horde sacked Kiev, ending the Kievan Rus as a major power. Nevsky's dad, Yaroslav II, tried to unite the Rus against the Horde, but mysteriously died after visiting the Great Khan. Poison? Stress? Bad Mongolian sushi? We'll never know. Alexander and his brother Andrei tried diplomacy. Andrei got Vladimir, Alexander got Kiev. But then Alexander snitched on Andrei's anti-Mongol plotting, and the horde replaced Andrei with Alexander in 1252. Yes, Alexander Nevsky betrayed his own brother to gain power. Medieval politics, where family dinners end in exile. By 1263, Alexander ruled a vast domain, but died that same year. His youngest son, Danil, inherited a small slice of land called Muscovy, just a humble duchy that would later become the nucleus of the Russian Empire. If you're loving this journey through the icy politics and fiery betrayals of medieval Novgorod, don't forget to follow us, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop more epic tales from history's hidden corners. Picture this: a city nestled near the Gulf of Finland, where the scent of smoked fish mingled with the clink of silver coins and the chatter of merchants from every corner of Europe. Novgorod wasn't just a city, it was a medieval megamall. Thanks to its prime location on the Varangians to the Greeks trade route, Novgorod became the Amazon Prime of the 12th century. It traded with the Hanseatic League, meaning German merchants brought glassware, wine, and soap, a rare commodity in medieval Europe, while Novgorod exported fish, beeswax, honey, fur, and iron, basically everything you'd need for a Viking starter pack. The eastern side of the city was a commercial wonderland, with rows of shops selling goods from as far as Byzantium and Scandinavia. If you had coin, Novgorod had wares. This booming economy made Novgorod rich, powerful, and, most importantly, independent. But as we all know, independence in medieval politics is like juggling flaming swords. Thrilling, but eventually someone gets burned. Novgorod's political system was a unicorn in feudal Europe, a republic where the people, well, mostly the boyars and freemen, could elect leaders, pass laws, and even fire princes like bad interns. The Vetch, a public assembly, was summoned by ringing a giant bell. Think of it as a medieval group chat, but louder and with more fur hats. Decisions were made when one side gave up arguing. So basically, whoever got tired first lost. While it wasn't a perfect democracy, boyar families often pulled strings like puppet masters, it was still a bold experiment in self-governance. But even unicorns can trip over their own hooves. After the death of Alexander Nevsky, Novgorod's legendary prince and ice-fighting saint, things started to unravel. The Golden Horde, aka Mongol Empire's Western franchise, crushed a rebellion in Novgorod, leaving the city weakened and vulnerable. By 1327, Novgorod became a vassal of Muscovy, losing its right to elect its own prince. The Vetch bell rang less often, and more decisions were made behind closed boyar doors. Then came the Treaty of Boletovo in 1348, where Pskov, a city within the Republic, declared, "I'm out," and gained independence. Novgorod was now limping politically and economically. Enter Ivan III, the Muscovite prince with a vision and a sword. Ivan III, also known as Ivan the Great, ascended the throne in 1462. His father, Vasily II, was famously blind, but Ivan saw everything, especially Novgorod's vulnerability. Novgorod's elite tried to regain autonomy and even flirted with Lithuania for protection. Ivan responded like a jealous ex with an army. In 1471, Ivan invaded. At the Battle of Shilon, Novgorod's ragtag militia of peasants and foreign mercenaries were crushed by Ivan's disciplined troops. Novgorod surrendered land and pride, but still resisted. Ivan was not amused. The Moscow Chronicles described Novgorodians as Christians whose actions are worse than infidels. Ouch. So in 1478, Ivan returned. This time, there were no negotiations, no Vitch debates, no bell ringing, just conquest. Ivan annexed Novgorod, executed rebellious boyars, and redistributed land to his allies. The Vetcha bell, symbol of Novgorod's democracy, was taken to Moscow, a literal silencing of the Republic. After 342 years, the Republic of Novgorod was no more. Novgorod's fall wasn't just the end of a city, it was the end of an idea. It had been a commercial powerhouse, connecting east and west through trade. It had pioneered representational governance in a world of kings and emperors. Its legal system, literacy, and civic culture were centuries ahead of its time too. Though seldom remembered today, Novgorod laid the groundwork for Russian political thought. Its Vetch may have been flawed, but it proved that people could govern themselves, even in the shadow of empires. And while modern Russia may not be ringing Veche bells, the echoes of Novgorod's democratic dreams still linger, like a whisper in the Kremlin's halls. If you loved this journey through the icy politics and fiery betrayals of medieval Novgorod, don't forget to follow us, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop more epic tales from history's hidden corners. We've got battles, betrayals, and bizarre twists you won't find in your school textbooks, so stick around, because the past has never been this thrilling.